Can a psychic predict your love life? We're going to find out today. And we have our returning guest, Sabrina Rising, in the house. Welcome, Sabrina.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here. I'm so
Yeah,
happy
I'm
to
really excited to have you. You predicted my relationship, my relatively new relationship. It's almost 3 months old. And I
be.
thought we would unpack that for everybody. But before we begin,
Yes.
I have a really tough question to ask you.
Ask me tough questions. I love those.
Okay. Is our psychics bullshit? Can they really predict the future? And I
It
know
depends.
we're all bullshit in a way.
Well, look, I think it depends on the psychic.
Yeah.
We're not all psychics are created equally. Some of us
Okay.
really deeply care about you. Some of us really deeply care about you getting your needs met and finding fulfillment and manifesting a life that you love. It's less about the accuracy of the psychic, and it's more about your willingness to be honest about what it is that you truly want and what it is that you truly desire in your life. And then,
Yeah.
if someone like me uses my intuition to be able to say, oh, okay, this feels like a match for what you say that you want. This feels like it's a good, energetic alignment, and it's an energetic alignment with what you say that you want, and so we can make suggestions.
Yeah.
I mean, psychics are not here to tell us what to do. They're here to really lay out the possibilities and lay out, sort of give us the insight that we don't necessarily have access to. That's what I
Yeah.
use my gift for, is to be able to give people access to information they don't feel like they have, or they don't feel like they can fully trust themselves. And that's part of the conversation you and I had, right? It was like,
Yeah.
I don't know about this. Like, you were a little wobbly at first. You weren't fully trusting yourself. And that could have been, not so much because of the person that you're with, but because of your past experience and because of
Yeah.
your sort of reticence and making sure that you're making the right choice and that you're not bringing back, setting yourself up for more hurt or more disappointment and so on. And
Yeah.
so, a guide, a spiritual guide, a psychic guide with integrity can hold space for you and say, this is something you should go for based on the trajectory you're on, based on what it is that you deeply desire, right? Because we don't
Is
have.
part I'm curious though, is part of it also the capacity to read energy? I mean, I wonder how much that plays in it, because I was thinking, as you were sharing right now, I was just thinking about like FBI profilers and people that can tell when people are lying and that sort of thing. I
Yeah.
think we all put out a certain energy that is actually readable. And a
Yeah.
person who's tapped into their intuitive powers like you are, I think that's really a reflection of even being able to read energy more so than the average person. Is there any, I'm just going on the fly here. Is there any truth to what I just shared?
I love what you're sharing. This is spot on. I mean, a psychic is able to penetrate your electromagnetic field. So
Okay.
we feel what you're holding on to. I'll just speak for myself. I can sort of penetrate your field and feel where you're holding on to fear, where you might be in self-betrayal, where you might be guarding, where you might be holding pain and unresolved trauma in your cellular field. And everything that's ever happened to you in your life is recorded in your body. And so as a psychic, I can pick up on the past and the present and how you might be operating and the trajectory that you're on based on, your experiences.
Yeah.
And if you're doing, and I can also feel from the outside. So there's the energy that's coming from you. And then there's also universal intelligence, which is all of it, right? Universal intelligence is something that you're part of, right? So
Yeah.
it's the information that is coming from what I'm picking up from you. And it's
Yeah.
also what's possible in your sphere based on the trajectory that you're on. So it's less about, oh, this is the right one, that's the right one. It's more like, this is the right path, and
Mm.
that's not the right path. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's so important when you're getting a psychic reading or when you're working with a guide or any type of intuitive, that you're not looking for specific outcomes, right? We're not
Yeah.
trying to look for outcomes. What we're trying to create the possibility for is an experience, the felt experience. And this is how I offer predictions: is this feels like it's going to bring you more of what you want in your life. This
Yeah.
feels like it's going to create more of those feelings and experiences that you really need or really want to have. And I do that with regular accuracy, and often, and it becomes sort of like second nature, like, oh, that's the thing you want to go for it, not because it's the thing itself, but because it's going to bring you the feelings and the experiences that you want.
Well, then, speaking of accuracy, let's talk. I'm going to share with the audience a conversation you and I had about almost
Yeah.
2.5 months ago.
Yeah.
And just to give everyone a quick backstory, about 3 months ago, I had a first date with my now girlfriend. It's weird to say the word girlfriend, by the way, just at my age, particularly, but it feels too soon to say partner. She likes to call me her beloved. Um, and I had this date, and it was a really nice, pleasant time together. In fact, we chatted for about 5 hours. It was a coffee date at a hotel looking over the marina, a really nice setting. And we had a good time, but I walked away going, God, I'm feeling neutral about this person. I wasn't feeling this magnetic draw. I wasn't feeling chemistry. I wasn't feeling spark. I wasn't feeling like this, like something that was even mystical versus the, lust or limerence I felt in the past. So we, after our date, about 2 days later, we chatted on the phone, and we both felt the same way. We felt a sense of neutrality, and our date was on a Saturday. I talked to her on the phone on a Tuesday, and we ended up having a 5-hour conversation as we were kind of unpacking what happened. And then 2 days later, I was on your YouTube channel. By the way, everybody check out Sabrina's YouTube channel, Sabrina Rising.
Yes.
Also, there's a link below to schedule a reading from her. So I was on Sabrina's YouTube channel, and I somewhere in the middle of the conversation, we started to talk about the date. And I'm telling Sabrina, this isn't the one, I don't think it's going anywhere. We're not going to see each other. I was kind of almost not in defiance or anything, but I just
talking yourself out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of talking and I'm going to let you share your perspective and then share what you shared with me.
I don't remember the full reading because that's just what happens when you're channeling universal intelligence. So if you remember the details, you fill them in. But I remember telling you, here's what I do remember. I remember telling you, I want you to give this another chance.
Yeah.
Hi, Shiloh. I remember saying to you, I want you to give this another chance. I want you to it feels like this could be something, because here's this thing. And we've talked about this so many times when we talk about love and relationships and manifesting the one, and, why anxious attachments and avoidant attachment styles and all that stuff, like that strong magnetic pull, that chemistry, that spark, those butterflies, that represents in my work, like a karmic relationship. This is something intense. There's something here for me to learn. There's a lesson for me in this relationship. That doesn't mean that all relationships have lessons, but this neutral, sort of safe, sort of calm, placid energy that you experienced, to me, signifies a level of maturity, a level of readiness, and a level of okay, this feels relaxed and calm, right? So this is a healthy love. Does that make sense? A soulmate love is more like this, where you feel like this could be a friend, a really good friend, someone you can spend many, many hours talking to. That is soulmate love. Okay. Those strong magnetic pulls, those lustful connections, the ones that we feel like we kind of get obsessed over, those are karmic relationships, and those are usually short-lived, and they're usually painful.
Yeah, as I reflect now, and it's interesting that I have some comparisons in my life, because I've certainly, as a man, I've been out in the dating realm. I have loved bombed women based on lust or limerence. I've certainly pursued women where I've come from an insecure, attached place, and I seem to be a magnetic for fearful or dismissive, mostly fearful avoidance. I've noticed that tends to be my pattern. And it's like almost on a psychic level, it feels like that. Like I can, I can filter them out, meaning I go directly towards them. And as I look back, Sabrina, now, and I want to reference my current relationship, is in the past, it felt almost involuntary, meaning it was like I felt this strong pull. It wasn't coming from choice. It was almost coming from, like I said, lust, limerence, or an insecure part within me. And the reason I'm bringing this up is now I have a deeper awareness to it, because I'm experiencing for the first time in my life what feels like secure love, healthy love, friendship love. I mean, well, you know my girlfriend. So, and I mean, like, she and I can just talk for hours upon hours. And like we were joking today, like if you looked at the way we talk, we're like a Google email thread. You know,
Yeah.
just one thing after another after another. It's like we're on this thread and like we're all over the map. It's kind of cute between us.
You're so cute in your early stages of love.
Well, I really don't want to deal with problems for years out. So, and I'm well, but at the same time, we have shared some very important things with one another, and because I believe we've done the work, we did the inner child work. I've worked with you. I've worked with so many other different modalities. She's done the same. She's done a lot of work on herself.
Yeah.
I think it's allowed us to come to the table with some relationship skills, like particularly in the area of nonviolent communication, which you and I talk about frequently.
Yeah.
But I want to come back to that prediction that you had. I want to revisit that because I'm going to be candid with you. When I was getting that reading on your channel, I was dismissing you.
I know. I
was like,
I know because I see through. And because I feel it. Like sometimes we're not ready to hear it,
Yeah.
and it's okay. It's like, I can tell when a person's really listening and they're really absorbing and they're really open to guidance. And it's also my job out of personal integrity to be able to just say, what I see and what I feel is best for you. I know that you're dismissing me because you have we even talked about this. I said, you have an attachment, you have an idea of how this is supposed to unfold for you and how you're supposed to feel. Right. And this is why it's so important not to get caught up on outcomes. We want to stay in the felt experience. Okay. Yeah. So, and that's why I said to you, I remember we talked about this. And I said, I want you to give this another chance. And you said, but you're not listening to me, right? Like, this. And I'm like, no, I actually am. I'm listening to your higher self that tells me that this is a good situation for you. I'm not listening to your wounded self, the ego, the voice of the ego that says, well, but this is not the vision I had, or it's not how I thought it would unfold. It's really important. And I teach this in my coaching programs, stay in the realm of infinite possibility. It's really important because as soon as we get fixated on an idea, as soon as we have a number or an image or a specific thing in mind, we create an attachment. And then when something doesn't line up with that, we think, oh, it's not working. This is not working, or this isn't working out for me. And we miss out on potential beautiful experiences as a result of this very myopic view of what's possible for us. Okay. So we want to always stay in the felt experience. And, when I explained to you, like when I was reading for you, I was like, this feels like a very different type of love, a very different, mature type of love. It feels like an open, safe, calm, placid love. And this is a good foundation to build all of those other things, which is very, very important because like you talked about, so many of us were raised in environments where we didn't get our needs met. And so we are attracted to either people that are emotionally unavailable or emotionally abusive or emotionally, overly attached and obsessed with us, or whatever your environment was in childhood is usually what we seek out in our partners. Yeah. So when you've done the work, as you talk about, when you do the inner child work and you come into awareness and said, this isn't love, this is attachment. And that's a completely different thing. Love is meant to feel safe and calm and welcoming, like you're coming home. If it doesn't feel like you're coming home, it's not your person.
It's, by the way, I want to make a correction in my language. But for everybody, I didn't dismiss Sabrina. I resisted it. I want to be clear. I was resistant because, on some level, I was still, I want to say to some level, I was operating on old programming, if you will. And because it's because it's so easy to get into the trap of chemistry equals relationship success. Yes. And what I'm learning from this experience, and particularly this relationship, is evolving my own coaching practice to some degree. I wonder how many people have had first dates, probably a very calm, beautiful experience, but because they didn't achieve those butterflies, they didn't get Cupid's arrows, they didn't get a lightning bolt, they didn't get some sort of charge, that they dismissed or resisted somebody or put
Yeah.
them in the friend zone when it actually could be a wonderful partner for you.
Yeah.
And I would like your take on this, both as from your psychological point of view, but from your psychic point of view too. How often do you think this really happens?
First, I think it happens regularly. I think
Yeah.
too many of us are in so much pain and we want to be out of pain. This is so
Yeah.
important for people to hear.
Yeah.
You want to be out of pain more than you want to be in love. Because most of us have no idea what real love is, what real unconditional love is. We know what attachment is. So what we're seeking when we're looking for partnership is we want a way out of our pain.
Yeah.
That I experience feeling unlovable, unworthy of time and attention, alone, neglected, perhaps abused, perhaps unwanted, perhaps not chosen, not special, whatever the experience is, I'm looking for someone to help me out of my pain.
Yeah.
And we're not conscious of this. This is an unconscious belief or desire, if you will, that's driving my behavior. When you're looking for someone to help get you out of pain, what you're actually going to attract is someone who's going to instigate your pain. So that
that's not funny, by the way.
This is the divinity. This is like the divine unfolding of the universe. That's why it's so incredibly spot on every single time. When you are looking for a way, and I want everybody watching to get honest with yourself. Are you looking for love, to amplify the love that you are in your life? Or are you looking for a way out of your pain, out of your loneliness, out of your neglect, out of your disconnection? Okay. Because if you're looking for a way out of pain, you're going to attract someone who instigates your pain, who activates your pain, who triggers all those buttons, whether it's on day 1 or day 101 or year 3, it doesn't matter. Someone who instigates your pain. And so that you can heal it, because on a soul level, what we want deeply to experience is universal love. And that can only be sourced from within. You've done so much work, Jonathan, like whether it's with me and with other modalities, you've done so much work that you've learned at this stage of your life to discern the difference between romantic, obsessive, compulsive, attached love and calm, placid, universal, peaceful, amplified love that comes from inside of you. When you're amplifying love, the whole world is going to meet you there. And
you said,
ready for that will meet you there, I should say.
You said something that, and this sounds like a judgment, so I want to be really careful. So please parse out my words for me. Is that I believe that we humans also are in delusion or illusion that we are, we're not coming from a place of loneliness, that we're not broken, that, many people operate from a place of a projection of the way they are. But I think on a subconscious level, they're coming from that place of, I'm lonely, I want a relationship, from an unhealthy place, but they don't see it within themselves. Introspective work is,
in large part, this is mostly unconscious. I've worked with so many people that are like, I'm amazing, I'm great, I'm this, I don't understand why I haven't met somebody, or I don't like, there's just nobody out there for me, or there's no good men. I'm sure you've heard all the things too in your work, right? But deep down, because they're not tuned in, that deep down inside, there's a really, really, really deep wound around feeling like love's not accessible, or love is a struggle, or love is painful, or I'm unlovable. There are some limiting beliefs. Whatever lives in your subconscious mind is always going to take over. Okay. And that's why it's so important to really look at like how we react, our language around love, what our real relationship is to love, what kind of love we're actually looking for, what is the reason behind this love. And we do that with introspective work, as you're saying,
So let me ask you a question, because yes, I've done a lot of work, but it's fascinating to me. And I now have a partner where we're both very attuned to personal development, self-help, spirituality, even therapy. And some of my stuff is still coming up. Like, it wasn't like I was totally healed and now I have this relationship. A bunch of new stuff is,
let's not create that for people. Nobody's expecting you to be fully healed before you can meet a person. That we're not creating that for people at all. We're not setting the standard that high, but you need to be in a good, healthy relationship with yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
That has to be present. That doesn't mean that we're all walking Buddhas. You know, you need to be in a good, healthy relationship with you. I like me. I like the way I look. I appreciate my body. I treat it with respect. I give myself compassion. I give myself room to be human. You know, I'm allowed to make mistakes. I am, you know, I see myself as lovable. I like who I am. I appreciate myself. When I'm in a state of appreciation with self, I'm going to attract other people who can also appreciate me. This is just how it works, right? So with love, calm down, relax, enjoy this. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
By the way, let me take a quick break right here for anyone. Well, really quickly, if you're enjoying what we're sharing today, I'm going to ask you if you have a question. There's a little chat box live right now. Write the word question, then post the question thereafter. Or you can purchase a super sticker, super chat. All of the monies from the super sticker, super chat goes to a scholarship fund in the name of my son, Connor Asley. That's a picture of him right there with his brother, Colin. He's my son who passed away over 7 years ago now. In his honor, we donate to causes like the Hoffman Process, Insight Institute, and scholarships to coaching as well. There's a little dollar sign in the chat box. We'd appreciate $50 of love today. So if 25 of you just donate $2, we would get to our goal. And again, should we offer a read? Like if someone wants to ask a question live, they can join us.
Live, they can join us on screen for sure.
Yeah. So I just post a link if you want to join us live. Sabrina,
tonight.
We're not going to, by the way, we're not going to overload Sabrina with like an intense reading or anything like that. So, but if you want to jump in, we'll certainly do that. So all right. So I'm almost 3 months in, Sabrina. What do you predict for my future?
Okay, so I love to answer this question. I answer questions like this all the time, by the way, every Wednesday, Sunday night at 5 p.m. Pacific on my channel. So what's going to happen is based on, first of all, what you're intending and the energy that you're holding, the trajectory that you're on, that you have 100% agency over. Okay, so everybody is responsible for what they're creating in their lives. Okay, so it's really about you getting centered and acknowledging where you are, where you want this to go, what you're putting in, you know. And also the other thing I want to say for you, Jonathan, I'm reading you right now.
Okay, sorry, I'm just posting the link. I made a mistake.
Okay. So I have permission to read your energy live.
Yeah, you can read my energy.
So you know, you tend to overanalyze things, right? And that's love and respect. I say with love and respect. And, you know, everybody that's here watching.
I'm going to interrupt you. I don't like the judgment that it's over. It's just who I am.
Okay, so you tend to really analyze things. Okay. And so the only thing I want to caution against, first of all, I feel like the trajectory you're on with your new partner is beautiful. I feel like there's a beautiful synergy, good alignment here. I feel like, you know, you have matching values. And I actually feel like you're both at a point in your lives where you've come together and you're really willing to do whatever it takes to help each other grow, which I think is a priority for both of you.
Yeah.
Helping each other grow has to be more of the priority than getting your needs met. Does that make sense? So of course I want you to get your needs met, but there's a real strong commitment here to helping each other grow, and whatever you need. Like if you said to your partner, you know, hey, I need to go do a weekend retreat for this because I feel stuck in here and I feel like I need to go get some help with this or whatever, she'd be like, go. You know what I mean? Like, I 100% support you. And I feel like that you're creating that space for each other to sort of evolve, right? So I like that trajectory that you're on. And because of that, I think this has the potential to be long-term. You know, I don't see that changing. So this is, of course, you know, she's not here, so I'm reading your energy. And specifically, you know, whenever you feel a little bit of doubt or a little bit of concern or a little bit of like second guessing or fear comes up for you, instead of intellectualizing it and trying to analyze the problem and trying to disseminate it and understand it, I really want you to sit with it and work through it and learn how to meet your own need for love and reassurance, because if you don't, it's going to take you off course. Does that make sense? You know?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting because I don't want to say second guessing, but as we've gotten, you know, I'll say deeper in love or just more connected and more integrated into each other's lives, I do check in with myself. I kind of say, do I really want this? Like, I mean, I just say it in my head kind of thing. Like, do I really want this? And partially because, you know, there's still a part of me that likes the sovereignty that I built over the last 2 years from my other significant relationship ending. But, and then it's so funny because I'll say, do I want this? And then immediately I go to, now, I don't say literally, what the fuck are you thinking, idiots? You know, I don't say that to myself because I don't want, but it kind of has that tone to it. But it's like I go to immense gratitude. Like, it's fascinating when for me, what's the strongest emotion I feel in this relationship beyond the physical connection and the passion and the camaraderie and the friendship is I feel this immense gratitude. Like I look at her and I'm just so effing grateful
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I'm with somebody who I just love hanging out with. I mean, we are so, like, to be the fly on the wall in our conversations probably would look like overthinking and stuff like that. And she's a mirror of me, by the way.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
she puts the C in curiosity. Um,
Yeah.
and it's one of, in fact, interestingly enough, on my dating profile, I said, I'm looking for a person that has an inquisitive mind, someone who's curious. And she is like on steroids. So I'm so grateful
Mhm.
that I have this. By the way, we did get a question in. So it's a pretty deep question, Sabrina. Let's post it on the screen here.
Hi, Catherine. Catherine says, does Sabrina feel that I will find another deep love? My husband passed. Okay. So, Catherine, I'm sending you lots of empathy and just lots of love and support for your loss. First of all, the grieving process is going to expand your capacity for love. So I want to say the first hit I get when I get your question is yes, but you have to be willing to experience love in a completely new way. Okay, so really grieving the loss of your beloved, your partner, and allowing that grief, like really contextualizing it as an integral part of the renewal process. And then when you're ready, which is not yet, you're not ready right now. There's still a lot of grief and a lot of just, I want to say, honoring the memory of your husband and at the same time not wanting to replace it. And this is something that feels unconscious, and I think it's common. A lot of people do that, especially when they have, a long-term marriage, the love of their lives that they lose. They want to meet that next person, but there's still so much of you that knows, yourself as this person's wife, right? Whoever the gentleman is that passed. And so you want to get to know yourself as a single person who's creating love from zero and giving yourself an opportunity to really re-experience love in a new way. That's the work that needs to be done for you, Catherine, before you can really dive into this next love. I want to caution the tendency to want to to think about replacing what you've lost, because that's not the right foundation to really find deep love. Okay. Yeah. You can never replace what you've lost. In fact, you're never going to stop loving your husband. It's never going to go away. But that love changes form, and it takes on sort of an eternal experience. This experience of eternal love you have with your husband, and with his blessing, and with connection to him, which I would encourage you to come for a mediumship reading, because I would love to connect you with your husband to facilitate the grieving process. You can find a way to really get closure and move on from the identity that you created being his wife for all these years, and creating something completely new. That's the advice I would give you. And that's what I feel like. Of course, love is possible for you 100%, but not from the place you're in right now. There's still some emotional grieving and processing that needs to happen before you can fully move into sharing your heart with another and giving another a fair chance to actually meet you in love.
We have another question I'm going to share, but I want to piggyback something on grief, because I've now had 3 big experiences in my life from grief. And first was the loss of my identity almost 20 years ago, when I lost my high-end corporate job, my money, even going through a divorce. And then losing my son. And that's a whole different type of grief and loss
Yeah.
that I've had to embrace healing in a way that I never imagined I was going to, and then losing a significant relationship. And why I'm bringing this up is I don't think enough awareness is placed on really understanding grief, like in every form, because loss doesn't have to be just death. It could be, like I said, the loss of my identity and the loss of a relationship. And I'm only pointing this out, folks. If you need some support in that area, Sabrina is not just a psychic and intuitive. She's a really great coach too that can help people. She helped me in my life, helping me, heal from the ending of a significant relationship. And that was a lot of grief work that I did.
Yeah.
So everybody, there's a link in the show notes. If you want to connect with Sabrina, click that link. So
Yeah.
Shiloh's in the house.
Hi, Shiloh. Nice to see you here, honey. If you win,
I'll let you read it.
If you, when that time comes, I will have an ocean full of questions. I want someone to mirror my heart, kindness, love. Is that too difficult to ask for? Nothing is too difficult to ask for, Shiloh. Shiloh is one of our community members too on Oracle Hour. And, it's something I talk about all the time. Like when you're living in the realm of infinite possibilities, there is nothing that's too much to ask for. The real question is it too difficult for me to expect this of myself? Right. So that's the key, is if you can embody it, you can manifest it. And that's true for everything. If you can hold the frequency of success, if you can hold the frequency of safety, if you can hold the frequency of love, of unconditional love for self, if you can hold the frequency for, this is how I manifested my beloved. I talk about this. I love to tell the story about how I just really, had to become the version of myself that I wanted to be in relationship with this person, and how I envisioned that I could manifest someone who was my energetic equal, and really believed that there was someone out there with my love. I want someone who brings what I give, someone who shows up in the way that I show up, and really held the frequency of that, the possibility of that. And I manifested him, as and so this is what we can do. Human beings are so powerful. We are energetic beings. And as a psychic channel, I don't just make predictions based on your past and the trajectory that you're on. I like to lay out the possibilities based on what's available to you if you use your free will in the right way. And this is something that we all have access to. We all have access to choice and personal responsibility, and doing the work to really bring ourselves online with what it is we say that we desire. Oftentimes I'm reading for people, and so I hope I answered your question, Shiloh. Yes, it's not too difficult to ask for. It's just a matter of you believing that it's possible for yourself. And of course, I know that you're going to manifest this in your life. So I love to answer these questions in two ways. I give the psychic hit, and then I give the spiritual guidance on how to get there, because we can have anything we want if we're willing to do the work.
By the way, as you're sharing this, I want to interject something, because folks, if you've followed me for a while, Sabrina was my coach a couple of years ago, and we actually just developed a great friendship. And since then, we connect on a regular basis with each other. And I think the reason why I'm bringing this up is we all need support people in our lives. Sometimes we, go to a dear friend to support us. Sometimes we go to a coach. Sometimes we go to a counselor or a therapist to support us. And I think it's about really helping us redirect our mindset, our energy into, as Sabrina talks about, the infinite possibilities, instead of, and sadly, I'm guilty of this, the woe is me, the sky is falling, it's all falling apart. And having that person that's both an objective point of view, but also a cheerleader in your life. We're cheerleaders to one another on so many different levels. And I think it just brings more enrichment to our lives. So I'm just reminding everybody, if you don't have a really great dear friend in your life, make it happen, or find a coach to help you, because believe me, having a great support system really enhances a person's life. We got more. By the way, Shiloh did say, so she wants to follow up and ask, So is one coming? Do I know
No,
them already?
there's the psychic questions. When is
Make
it
that
happening?
one quick because we have more questions too.
Okay. I'm going to say, yeah, I feel there is someone on the way in your life because you've done so much work to bring yourself into a state of positivity and embracing new things and sort of like embracing more self-confidence. It's really the self-confidence piece is what's you're projecting out that's creating more magnetism in your life and that's drawing the person to you. Okay. So I want to say one's coming and it's in this new area that you're either moving into or visiting and so on. There's a new acquaintance that you meet. I don't feel like it's someone you know already. No, I don't. This is a new person, never been met before.
You know, it's interesting. You mentioned self-confidence, and it's fascinating to me because I want to add something to that.
Yeah.
Because what was interesting, we talked about my relationship in the beginning of this broadcast. You know, I went into that first meeting or date and I had no attachment to the outcome. And as we began speaking and getting to know one another, I had no attachment to the outcome. Why that's so pivotal and why I'm bringing this up is that I had a level of confidence because I wasn't coming from a place of, oh, I've got to be the ambassador of my best self. I wasn't coming from a performative place. I was just coming from a place not detached from, my sovereignty, but when you come from a detached place or a place of non-expectation,
Yeah.
it's like an embodiment of confidence. I felt so much in my sovereignty. And I don't think I've ever felt that way before. And really, I mean, even to this day, not that I hope anything goes wrong between us, but I'm now know that if something did and it didn't, it doesn't go the distance, I'm going to be okay. Like, and that's like to have that feeling of I know I'm going to be okay is so empowering. It's so refreshing. And again, would I be sad and would I be hurt? Absolutely.
But that's what makes you more attractive and magnetic is to go and is when you can lean into your confidence because I'm okay if this works out and I'm okay if it doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's when we become more magnetic. This is how it works. And whether you're interviewing for a job or you're trying to date somebody or you're trying to, this is what makes us chosen. Choose yourself first, and then other people will choose you. The right people will choose you, the ones that are a vibrational match for the values that you're holding in place. Though so a lot of people will ask, about, oh, am I going to attract this person? Can I have this person, like the lady whose husband's passed? And it's like, I can feel in the energy that you can attract somebody, but it's not going to be what you're looking for, right? Like, because the energy is not there. It's not healed. It's not where it needs to be in order for you to have sustainable, deep love, the kind that your soul really, really wants to experience. The human can go out and find dates and go out and find people to have relationships with. That doesn't mean they're going to be the right relationships.
Yeah.
I care about aligning people with their, soulmates, like their right relationship, the kind of love that they're here to really learn from and grow with.
Yeah. By the way, we got our next question. I'll pop it up on the screen, but I want to clarify my words earlier. Being detached from the outcome didn't mean I was detached. So I just want to differentiate. Being needy is one thing and being emotionally unavailable is another thing. I'm talking about that space of neutrality where I wasn't attached to the outcome. We have Kay in the house.
Hi, Kay.
I'll let you read it, Sabrina.
Okay. Hi, Kay. This is Sabrina. I also lost my husband of 39 years. Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry for your loss. 14 years ago, I dated against my son's support. Will I meet another mutual love? Have not found the right and available man yet. Okay. So part of that is the guilt you're feeling around your sons, right? Like if your son's not supporting you, even if you consciously desire a partner, you're going to block it. Okay. You're going to unconsciously block this out because you don't have alignment in your life. Okay. So it's very important for you to do the work to set boundaries with your sons and boundaries with, I want to say specifically for UK, like you need to give yourself permission to have what it is that you want, because you're someone who puts everybody else's needs first. You don't put your needs first. You're really kind of like, hoping for something to happen, but you're not taking responsibility for setting good boundaries and saying no and creating a life that really supports what you say you want. And this is so important. I see this over and over and over again. We say we want things, but we're not taking the aligned actions to put the right things in place to make those things happen. Right. And so, okay, I want you to you need to have a loving, heartfelt conversation with your son. I mean, your husband passed 14 years ago. Okay. So, it's important for you to be able to set that boundary with your sons and to say, look, this is what I'm creating for my life. I would love your support, and I also don't need it. Right.
Yeah.
So you got to get to that place where you don't need it to be okay if they give it to you, and an okay if they don't, and to live your life sort of free of any guilt or obligation towards your sons. Okay. So this is what I want for you. And your husband wants this for you too. Your husband in spirit wants you to move on with your life. When we lose our beloveds, when we lose our loved ones, they usually stay around as guides to, make sure that we are living our fullest life. Right? Our beloveds want us to move on. They want us to find love again. They want us to share ourselves. They want us to have the most of this human experience. This is the message I get over and over again during my mediumship readings, is like, go live your life and take the chance and take the trip and spend the money and do the thing and enjoy, because the time on this earth is so precious. It's so limited. Your husband wants you to live the fullest. And speaking of take the trip, there's a trip that he wants you to take, Kay. So I want you to really live for yourself. Okay. This is something that Spirit wants you to know tonight, is really live for yourself. Put yourself first. Okay. And have a loving, boundary setting conversation with your son.
As you're sharing this, I'm reminded of, I was meddling in my son's life a few months back, and I had a little bit of whiplash from it, but it reminds me that, I shouldn't meddle in his life and he shouldn't meddle in mine, kind of thing. Now, that doesn't mean not to be supportive and all that stuff, but we are autonomous beings, and,
look, I lost my father. I lost my father when I was, very young. I was just about to turn 8 years old. And, I come from a very traditional Italian family, and we don't get remarried and, that kind of thing. And, my mom is very traditional Italian, and she couldn't imagine bringing another man into the house and that kind of thing. It's just, this is old world thinking, right? But I've seen it, and especially in my mom's generation, like people just, they feel so, committed or confined rather to the identity that they've created with their partners, with their husbands or their wives, the family that they've raised, that they don't want to do anything to interfere with that. The idea of creating a new identity becomes so painful and so overwhelming, and we want to protect our children from having to accept someone else. Like, we think we're taking dad's place or mom's place and that kind of thing, and it's not like that. It's really about giving yourself permission to continue loving, and not making love an exclusive experience between two individuals, but more of a universal energy that we can all benefit from when we open our hearts and let ourselves move on.
Yeah, it's interesting. Again, and we've got another question from Poultry Flowers. I'll point that up in a second, but I just got to tell a quick story. My now ex-wife, when I met her father and mother were going through a divorce. And I think her mother was like 58, 59 years old. And within a year, she met a man, a widower, and they got married very quickly. And keep in mind, this was 30 plus years ago. Life was a little bit different before our smartphones, if you will. And she, I think she was, and he lived to be 93. So they were married, I want to say 27, 28 years, longer than the first marriage. And why I'm bringing this up is one of the grandchildren spoke at the service, and she turned to my ex-wife's mother and said, "I am so grateful you came into my grandfather's life," because he had, and by the way, my ex-wife's mother is a funny, I want to say lunatic, but in a funny, like not lunatic, a Lucille Ball kind of way, like slapsticky kind of way. And I mean, the granddaughter said, you know what? You were such a blessing to my grandfather. And it was so beautiful to witness that. And he had two loves of his life, one for 23, 24 years, the next one for about 27 years. So I think we have plenty of life. We can be in our mid, 40s, 50s, and midlife and still see a lot of life in front of us. So
yeah, I
right.
get this question too. People say, "Oh, is it too late for me? Is it too late for me?" And it's never too late. Love is that love is what we're here to experience. So if you haven't experienced it yet, it's not too late.
I have so many clients in their mid 60s that find love. I have many of them who find love, get married. It's absolutely possible, even in your 60s. Poultry Flowers is in the house. I'll let you answer the question.
Should we just start off looking for friends instead of relationships these days? I think the highest form of love is friendship.
Yeah.
I really do. I think that if you go into it just wanting to connect from a place of shared values and shared enjoyment and companionship and really feeling into each other and enjoying each other's company, because keep in mind, once the lustful experiences sort of dwindles off, that early energy of the relationship, you want someone that you really enjoy, that you can really converse with, that you have things in common with, that you can share life with. And so friendship is the highest form of love. So don't look for anything other than connecting in love and meeting someone that you feel safe with, where you feel like your nervous system is calm in their presence. You don't feel self-conscious. You feel relaxed. You feel like you can be yourself. Test the waters to really try and create transparency from date one. Of course, Jonathan and I talk about this all the time. Like, say what it is you're looking for, what you need, what you want, not in a sort of like, rigid ultimatum type of way, but in a way of like, look, this is what I'm creating in my life. Can you meet me here? Right. And so this is very, very important for people to give themselves an opportunity to just connect in love without any, again, non-attachment is what we're talking about tonight. Like, we can create predictions based on the trajectory that you're on, and in an unattached way, you can manifest what it is that we're talking about, whatever the prediction is, by feeling into it and just trusting what feels good in your own body. Okay. Yeah. So it's very important, because if you look for a lover, you're looking for something specific. If you look for what makes a significant other different than a best friend, it's just, that's what the foundation of that is, should be friendship. Okay, Poultry. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, I want to piggyback on that, because I can honestly say, I mean, my relationship has fast become my best friend, I mean, and I would say our relationship is more rooted in the friendship and the passion and the kissing and the intimacy. The physical intimacy is like the icing on the cake, because we just love talking with each other. We laugh, we process shit like nobody's business. We are so funny. But that's our jam, and plus we're doing things. We also do activities and that sort of thing, but it comes from a rooted place of friendship. And just to go back to Poultry Flowers, I think we should be starting from the friend zone. And I don't mean that we pigeonholed someone that we will never sleep with. I mean, that's where we should be starting, from the friend zone, and ignite fire from there. So
absolutely.
Jill is in the house.
Hi, Jill. Jill says, Sabrina, a relationship I was in for 5 years just ended. Do you see this as being over or a chance of recollection? See, Jill.
Maybe reconciliation. Oh, yeah. She corrected it. She said reconciliation.
I got the energy of what you said. Don't worry about it. I want to say that there's still a lot of love here between you and this person, Jill. There's still a lot of love and respect and affinity. I feel like, yeah, I mean, and I also feel the pain of it too, what ended the relationship. So, I feel like there is a possibility here of taking a break without going too deep into the details, I want you to sort of take some space. Both of you need some time to regroup and really think about what it is you had and what happened and how you can repair what happened. And there is the possibility of reconciling. I'm actually of the belief that any two people that are willing to do the work and willing to make amends and take responsibility and, change their pattern of operating in a relationship can make love work. Okay. So I actually do see the reconciliation. I feel like it's going to take some time though. Like you actually need to take space from this person and allow this person to do some soul searching, self-reflection, and some, I think there's going to be some awareness on this person's part that will sort of help recreate the stage for a relationship between you and him. Okay. So I actually do feel there's a possibility for reconciliation. It's just a matter of, can you let go? Can you forgive? Okay. That's really up to you to decide. You have free will. You get to choose whether or not you can forgive and you can move on from what happened and learn to trust again. And keeping in mind that trust is the belief that things are going to work out without evidence. Okay. I want you to really because I feel like there's an energy like, well, he's going to have to prove it. And I'm going to have to see this change and that change. And, there's some of that energy going on. Right. So I want that when we make a decision to trust someone, we make a decision to give them our full belief without evidence, just based on, our willingness to give that trust because trust is the foundation for love. Okay. So that's why I want to answer that question. I'll leave you with that, Jill. I hope that was helpful.
Well, your big brother wants to jump in and say this, though. If you're going to reconcile, then please do it with someone who's also going to do the work. It can't be a one-sided experience. And sadly, too oftentimes, and Sabrina knows this, is that we come back together from a place of fear, from a place of loneliness and that sort of thing. And whatever split you up, you better work on that shit, because the truth is it's going to pop right back up. And I see that all too often on my end. So
I think in Jill's case, though, this person is going to come back around. She's going to get, she's going to, this is my psychic prediction. Jill, you can come back and let us know. But I feel like after a period of time apart, there is some awareness, there is some amends that's made. There's an opportunity here for you, the two of you, to really realize what you had and what you can make work again. Okay.
All right. We've got RM Bills, and there's going to be two threads. So I have a long lost friend, Love, who lives across country from me. I haven't talked with him in many years, but I think of him daily. And here's her question.
I'm wondering if you can tell me anything about reconnecting with him. I think, here's what I want to say. First of all, I think you think about him, and I think he also thinks about you. Okay. There is no independent thought. There's no secret thought. There's no separate thought. So from a universal intelligence perspective, you're thinking of him, and your higher self is pinging him, right? Your higher self is pinging his higher self. So he's also thinking of you. I like the idea of reconnecting with him. I think that, you got to keep it light. I would keep it really light and just reach out and say, oh, it was your birthday or something or whatever. The thing is, I was just thinking about this, or I came across this and it made me think of you. Something very light and very friendly and very unassuming. I like the idea of you reconnecting with this person, because there is history in this relationship, and there is a real bond happened between the two of you. There's real affinity, and it feels like there's a soul contract here as well. So you've been through a lot together, and it's kind of like one of those situations. I'm reading this energy, and it's reminding me of a friendship I have in my life, with a platonic male friend that I have, that I sort of, it's been a long time since I've talked to him. And it's just like, we kind of pick up right where we left off, and I feel like it's that type of same energy with you, RM. Like there is a real opportunity for you to reconnect with no attachment to the outcome. There's the possibility of friendship and of just like healing something that's lost. It's almost like reconnecting with a childhood friend, So I want to encourage you to do that.
God, I love witnessing you do your work. Although I was reading some of the comments along the way, Sabrina. So,
Moments, so you'll share them with me afterwards.
yeah. So Rhonda has a question for me. Jonathan, have you said I love you? Hey, Sabrina. Rhonda's in the house. So I want to share a couple moments. So when the time we had our first date, and I'm coming back to the beginning of this conversation, everybody, when I had that first date and we began, and we, we recognized that there wasn't chemistry or spark or whatever it was. We were in a state of neutrality. We began developing a friendship over the phone. And there was a moment, like I want to say 30 hours into conversations, and we were talking every day for 5 hours a day. We were just, we loved our minds. We loved our emotional maturity and all that kind of stuff. We had friends in common. There were so many, and we were unpacking our lives. There was a moment she said something to me that was kind of a self-reflection about me, or not a self-reflection, a reflection about me. And and it was spot on. I say this to Sabrina all the time too. When someone like pegs me, I oftentimes, when someone pegs me and I don't agree, or I mean, I agree, but I don't want to agree, I say, fuck you. Because it's like, they're right.
With love and respect.
With love and respect. But there was a moment when she had something reflective to me, and I said, God, I love you. Like, it was this place of agape love. It was a place of like,
universal
appreciation. So once we began actually officially dating, very early on, I said to her, because I was really in a state of gigantic appreciation, I said the following words. I said, don't take this the wrong way, but I love you. And I prefaced it with that because I'm like, I'm not saying I love you forever and you're my soulmate or all that stuff. I just love this person for who they are.
So I don't want to cut you off, but I really want to say this. What was the purpose of saying don't take this the wrong way, other than to protect yourself from not looking good or like, not being cool?
Because I believe
giving too much love away,
Yeah, no, you know what it was? I believe we have this kind of what our brain, when someone says I love you in a romantic sense, there's a word missing in the sentence because there's this word that says forever. Like, I mean, I believe once we say I love you to a person, there's almost this implied, it means it forever. At least that's the vantage point I look at it. And don't get me wrong, now that we've said it to each other, I really do hope that we build a life together. I mean, that's what I want. I am fully committed. I'm intentional. I want to build a life with this person. Maybe I was saying it to hedge a little bit. It felt like it was too early, but
protecting yourself, guarding yourself a little bit. Like there's a little bit wounded child there.
I'm going to own it. But it was coming from a place of like, look, I'm not promising a future. But it was more of a reflection I'm in such immense gratitude for the experience that I'm having with this person that I'm feeling an overwhelming sense of appreciation. And in that space, I think appreciation, gratitude is one of the highest forms of love, at least in the way I view it.
100%.
And so
also, the other thing I want to say too is it's really important for everybody to understand that love is a feeling in the moment. Okay.
Yeah.
The feeling in the moment, just like you can be sad in a moment, you can be angry in a moment, you can be happy in a moment, you can be exhilarated in a moment, you can feel love in a moment. So relationships are not based on feelings. Relationships are based on compatibility, communication, connection, structures, and the willingness to show up for each other on a regular basis. Love will come and go. There are moments where you're going to feel more in love with her and less in love with her, more intense love, less intense love. It just depends on the moment and the day and the interaction. So this idea that we say I love you, and now this is a permanent state of being. It is an unrealistic expectation. Okay. We say I have appreciation for this person, and I have continued appreciation for this person in terms of the way they choose to show up and how they show up for me and how they support me in getting my needs met, and their continuous commitment to doing the work to make this relationship, viable and long-term and sustainable. It's not based on I love you. Okay. So you can say, I love you, and say it without no preface, no
Yeah.
guardedness, no
Yeah.
self-protection. I wish everyone can liberate themselves from protecting themselves from this idea of feeling rejected or unwanted, or like the person doesn't feel the same way. You can be love and you can share love from a place of experiencing love. And that needs to be enough. When that's enough, then we can attract the right people into our lives that can meet us
Yeah.
there. You know?
Well, and you know, now we say it freely to each other. So, and it's really a reflection as I feel it every single time I say those words. It's because I'm in just gratitude, you know, like,
Yeah.
and or moments of compassion or empathy or those things. But at this moment, I just feel immense gratitude, and I love that feeling of gratitude.
Yeah, because it
And so,
expands you. It expands
yeah,
you. And when you're expanded, guess what? When you're expanded to the experience of love, you start to receive love, more abundance, more joy, more opportunity, more blessings in your life. When you
yeah,
open yourself up to blessings, you receive more blessings, right? In
yeah.
all of love in all of its forms, right? So
Well,
beautiful.
Sabrina, it's come to an hour.
I can't believe it. It feels like
I just felt like we just started this conversation.
this is so fun.
Folks, if you found value in Sabrina's readings, if you felt like you had a connection with her and you want to learn more, in the show notes, there's a link. You can just go to Sabrina Rising. There's a link there. And you can connect with her. You can make sure you go to her YouTube channel on Wednesday evenings. She does Oracle hours. She does readings. She's, I think, an amazing human being, and she's a really damn good coach too. So if you need some support on inner child work and all that good stuff, reach out to her. I promise you it'll make a difference in your life, because you made a difference in my life, my friend.
You so much. I'm so happy for you and your beloved and your new relationship. And I'm so honored that you took my guidance and my coaching and my advice to give it another chance. And I love seeing you so happy. I love
Oh,
seeing you've done so much work, and you really deserve it. Of all the people, you really deserve it. You really walk your talk. And I know that people know you have coaching programs as well, and, you know, teaching women how to love themselves so they can manifest their beloved and so on. Like, you really embody the work, and it shows. It really shows.
oh,
So it wasn't an accidental blessing. It was very much worked for and deserved. Leslie says,
oh,
thank you both. That was beautiful. I really enjoyed it.
oh,
Namaste.
thank
Thank
you.
you, Leslie. We love you all so much. No, but
Yeah,
first,
thanks everyone. Big hugs, giving you all big gigantic hugs, giving you a big hug, Sabrina. Reach out to Sabrina. Oh, and Sunshine says, Sabrina, come back soon. Absolutely. She's our regular
yes, I love
confidant. All right, everyone. Bye now. Bye. Bye. Bye.